Thank you very much. Chandrika ji, Jagdish ji, and office bearers of the Virat Hindustan Sangham and people in this august audience. We are gathered here to discuss a matter which is crucial for the future building of our nation. Although it's just a simple amendment bill that was passed, it has triggered all the hidden fears of many people and has also given us an opportunity to define nationhood more clearly. In 1947, when we became independent, I should say we became free, Parmacharya had said that now that we have become free, let us also become independent. And people in those days couldn't figure out what's the difference. There is a difference, and I'll speak about it later in my speech. But when we became independent, it was on the basis of a bill passed by the UK, that is the British House of Parliament, that is in particular the House of Commons, which bill was called the Indian Independence Bill, later known as the Indian Independence Act. That was necessary because only India was a legal entity and the British were the rulers. So now, when they had decided to create a Pakistan, the British decided also at the same time to make every kingdom that was indirectly ruled by the British, 600 of them, into independent countries. So in 1947, when the British Parliament adopted the Indian Independence Act, they didn't create just two countries or one country which was divided into two. But actually they created 602 countries. And all the princely states, as they were called, became independent countries. In 1935, the British had introduced the constitution for India, which of course became null and void on 1947. But in that, they had said that if any kingdom wishes to join the British Empire and become part of British India as a part of British India, then they must sign something called the Instrument of Accession. And that Instrument of Accession requires only the king to sign on a piece of paper that he is merging his kingdom with British India. And it did not require the king to seek the opinion of the people over which his kingdom prevailed. So just a mere signature of the king was legally enough by the British Indian Constitution that time, 1935, to become a part of India. And they said once you merge, you can never again separate out of what was then British India. So in the House of Parliament, or the House of Commons, when this question was raised under what legal procedure the kingdoms could become part of either India or Pakistan, the British said that the same instrument of accession will be a legal document by which the princely states can merge into either countries or remain independent. Most of the 600 countries, 600 then independent countries, the princely kingdoms, decided to merge with either Pakistan or India. With India, thanks to Sardar Patel, who dealt with each king separately, and he adopted the old Sanskrit maxim of Samadama Veda Danda, where it was necessary for him to show his is the stick of law. He did it. He did it with Hyderabad, and by his sheer effort, 500 of the kingdoms of 600 merged into India, and about 100 merged into Pakistan. A few countries, a few kingdoms decided not to. They said, no, we will remain independent. One was Junagadh, but then the king was a Muslim king. He got scared and he ran away to Pakistan, leaving his kingdom. He took away 500 of his dogs, but he didn't take any of the citizens of his kingdom. And he went away to Karachi. So Sardar Patel then moved the troops there to avoid chaos, and the population was majority Hindu. In fact, it was 89% Hindu, and they all rejoiced in joining. So Junagadh became part of India. In the case of Hyderabad, the Nizam decided to say, I'm going to join neither India nor Pakistan, I'll be an independent country. And but the Razakas in his kingdom decided to go beyond the borders and attack neighboring Hindu areas, butchering them, and they created a major, human rights problem. So Sardar Patel sent the army to the borders of Hyderabad. He didn't send it into Hyderabad. But Nizam panicked and he signed the instrument of accession. So that's how Hyderabad became part of India. In the case of Kashmir, there was a Hindu king in a then Muslim majority area, because Jammu had not been added. But the fact is that he decided that he will make Kashmir into a Switzerland of the world. That's what he said. But no sooner he made that announcement, Jinnah sent the military into Kashmir, and they came very near Srinagar, and then the king got panicky, came running to India, and that time he couldn't meet Jawaharlal Nehru. He was not there. He was, I think, probably abroad. He was seeing some special friends of his in London, whom I do not name. But he met Sardar Patel and said, please save me, send the Indian army. He said, how can I? You are a separate country. So he said, no, we'll worry about that later. But you please save me now, because they have come to Baramulla. It's only a matter of one day for them to come to Srinagar. So he pulled out the instrument of accession from his drawer and said, sign here first, then only it will go. Otherwise, you go and meet your fate. And that blackmail worked, and the king meekly signed the instrument of accession, which means Kashmir, Jammu, Leh, all became an integral part of India, and under the British 1935 Constitution can never be revoked, that cannot be reversed. It's an independent, it's a part of India. When Jawaharlal Nehru returned, of course, he was aghast, and he had a huge fight with Patel, and then he decided to go to the United Nations without cabinet approval, without the cabinet knowing, without Sardar Patel knowing, without Mahatma Gandhi knowing. He went to the UN and filed a petition there in what we called as a dispute, when in fact he should have filed the petition under the clause of aggression. So he immediately accepted it was a dispute, and then the UN issued some instructions which Pakistan didn't follow, and then the matter just dragged on and on. I'm telling you all this because you have to see this Citizen Amendment Bill or Citizen Amendment Act now in that context. So therefore, this Kashmir problem has lingered on, and Jawaharlal Nehru agreed to a ceasefire, even though the Indian army had advanced straight into what is now called as Azad Kashmir or Pakistan-held Kashmir, occupied Kashmir. And Muzaffarabad, the capital of POK, was captured by the Indian army. But Jawaharlal Nehru made the army come back, and thereafter the state of affairs of Kashmir, you know. Now, in the aftermath of after August 15th, 1947, there was an assurance given by Mahatma Gandhi to the Hindus that he is working to see whether we can rejoin again now that the British are gone. He said it will be easier for me to deal with Jinnah. So a lot of people on that faith decided to stay in Pakistan, even though they were Hindus, and the whole movement was led by the Muslim League, which had regarded the Hindus as enemies. So therefore, a problem began where the local Muslims decided to grab the properties of the Hindus, occupy their houses, forcibly convert their children, and do all kinds of atrocities. So an exodus started. Exodus from this side, not by being pushed out, but by willingly, a large number of Muslims went. So there was a real massive flow of citizens of both states crossing each other. And suddenly then Jawaharlal Nehru decided to hold a meeting with the Prime Minister of Kashmir, Prime Minister of Pakistan called Liaquat Ali, and they jointly said that they will protect their respective minorities. That was in 1950. In 1947, the Congress Working Committee in November 18th met and said that the plight of the Hindus and Sikhs is horrible in Pakistan. And the government of India should be liberal in allowing them to come to India and become citizens of India. Because according to the constitution, whoever was in what is called India, maybe partition, but it was called India, became automatically citizens of India. So anyone after that could only become after the government had enacted a law, which is called the Citizenship Act, which finally became enacted only in 1955, where there's a procedure on how you can become a citizen. Sonia Gandhi has become citizen according to Section 6 of the Section 5 of the Citizenship Act. Of course, our form is faulty and she can still be, our citizenship can be cancelled, but I'll worry about that later. The question is that in 1950, many people stayed on after the signing of the Nehru-Liaquat Ali Pact. But that Liaquat Ali was a liar, he did not keep it to any of the promises he made. And so the persecution of Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Parsis, Christians began in a big way, even after signing of the pact, that is after 1950 and after the Indian constitution had come into force. And so many people started coming to India. By then, that original constitutional provision that if you were in India, on Indian territory in 1947, you automatically became Indian citizen, no more applied. And so they had to go through a procedure. The Citizenship Act had not been formed, had not been enacted. So they were literally stateless people and they were designated as illegal migrants. So this group of people who came because of religious persecution were titled as illegal migrants, and they were given a piece of paper saying that you can stay here without a visa till this matter is settled. That is, the question of your citizenship is settled, and after a law has been enacted.